The standardization of food preparation for technical vocational livelihood students, a case study. As a basic psychological necessity of human being, eating keeps people survived. Therefore, food preparation was an essential contribution to physical well-being, a main source of pleasure, worry, and stress. Rosen, 1999. Additionally, Redmond and Griffith 2003 discussed that the developing countries and the developed nations all suffer foodborne disease and the incidence associated those infections is growing. In United States, an investigation by American Meat Institute 2001 conducted a survey of 1,000 adults is concluded that lifestyle changes affect food behavior. Women in the workforce have limited commitment to food preparation. Consumers appear to be more interested in convenience and saving time than in proper food handling and preparation. Conversely, in Taiwan, Food and Drug Administration or FDA of Health Department collected the data of foodborne disease from 1991 to 2010. Cheng and Tai 2013 whereby 4,284 foodborne disease incidents were recorded domestically, including 82,342 victims within that period. Additionally, in United Kingdom, Dasgupta 2005 in his study revealed that many foodborne diseases and pathogenic microorganisms are spread by contaminated hands. If pathogens from human feces enter a person's mouth, it will cause diarrhea. School-going children are exposed to greater risk of diarrhea disease by passively consuming contaminated water and food. In the Philippines, Benigno S. Aquino III, 2013 signed the law of Act No. 10611. The primary adheres the Philippine Constitution's declaration to protect and promote the right of the people to health and keep its populace from the threat of trade, malpractice, substandard, and hazardous products. The availability of food in a plate of every Filipino is among the main concern of the government in achieving food security. The Philippines has a number of policies being implemented that recognizes the pivotal role of improving food and supply to meet the ever-growing food demand. However, more than achieving availability and sufficiency of supply, food security is defined as access to safe and nutritious food, FAO 2014 pointed out that the lack of knowledge of microbiological food hazards, temperature ranges of refrigerators, contamination, and personal hygiene cause foodborne diseases, Bass et al. 2004. According to Fisher and DeVries 2008, food preparation for many individuals can be described as a habitual because it is frequently repeated behavior. Since food both an object of experience and consumption one perceives, prepares, and eats if the epistemology of foods involves risk, choices, attitudes, and beliefs towards food are political in nature. A person's food choice has a ripple effect in the system of food production, distribution, and consumptions are highly affected by a person's food choices. Kaplan 2012. According to Mayor Rodrigo Duterte, there is now need to foster a great level of public consciousness relative to the maintenance of health, sanitation, and hygiene conditions that will redound to the greater public health protection and safety in the city of Davao. In accordance with the General Welfare Clause of the Local Government Code, Duterte announced that all public and private establishments operating in Davao, whether they established for commercial, business, trading, educational, government, or retail purposes are enjoined to keep their respective premises clean, healthy, and sanitary at all times. Sunstar 2003. The data gathered shall be used as parameters for progress, development, or response to the enhanced education or K-12 program. This study had investigated the standardization of food preparation for technical vocational livelihood students under the late afternoon program or LAPT in Davao City National High School. Specifically, the study sought to answer the following questions. 1. What is the importance of food preparation? 1.1 What is the assurance that the food you intake has a food safety standards? 1.2 What is your perspective when buying a product? 1.3 When purchasing final goods, what is the commodity you consider? 2. What makes food unsafe? 2.1 How long does average reel take to cook? 2.2 Why is it important to develop your skills in food preparation? 2.3 What are your food preparation techniques? Pertinent to this study is a discussion of theories as basis for the standardization of food preparation and students. As such, it included a discussion of food theory of Cheng et al. 2007 and theory of food as neurocognitive adaptation of John S. Allen 2012. Food theory. It is a type suite of implicit cognitive skills people use to negotiate the complex, interactive human social universe. For an individual, a first theory of food may be as wired into the mind as strongly as first language. Food theory emphasizes the significance of learners' food preparation. It is important to note here that interferences from their parents not only the reason for their prospective food choices. A study conducted by Cheng et al. 2007 classified studied United Kingdom or UK in order to analyze changes in eating between 1975 to 2000. They examined three topics in the social transformation of the practice. A. Social differentiation, meaning the continuation group divisions. B. Process of commodification that discuss how food provision moves from the domestic setting into the marketplace, potentially, according to some, leading to disruptions of social relationships. And C. Changes in the temporal organization of consumption, such as the time spent eating meals or the frequency of meals eaten together with other people, something that has also been suggested to wear down social relationships. Although the authors find changes in eating out, both in terms of the frequency and the duration of time, eating is suggested to be a practice that is rather unresilient to change. Socio-demographic categories continue to differentiate how eating is performed, although restructured in different ways rather than fragmented. Furthermore, although slightly fewer still eat at home and they continue to eat together. Food perspective. In theoretical basis of food perspective, normal human behavior depends on mastering a number of complex cognitive abilities that integrate multiple sensory, motor, perceptual, attention, and experimental domains. 1. Although these abilities are in many ways neurologically hardwired, they typically emerge over a normative course of development in childhood. This development must occur in an environment that is at least minimally supportive of neurocognitive growth and maturation. The neural networks underlying these abilities that develop in childhood become the foundations for adult cognition. Even though these cognitive abilities are remarkably complex, they become second nature. Once mastered, language development highlights a salient fact about these complex cognitive abilities in humans. They can be strongly influenced by cultural environment. 2. The neurocognitive biology of language suggests that this ability is hardwired and evolutionarily adaptive. 3. But the specific languages that people speak are of course determined by cultural environment. Furthermore, there is increasing evidence that language structure may have a deep-seated influence on cognition in myriad ways. Although other cognitive activities are less obviously culturally or environmentally influenced, that does not mean they are not shaped by the development context. Consider something as fundamental as walking, and 4. Even though much neurological control of gait occurs at the subcortical level, the planning and organization of walking behavior is initiated in the frontal cortex. The neurocognitive networks involved with walking are both hardwired and shaped by the environment in which they are formed. The components of that environment must make some contribution to the neurological development of gait control, even if it is relatively minor compared to the other factors. The researchers conducted this study to investigate the senior high students' food preparation. The results of this study will be beneficial to parents. Specifically, parents would gather information to ensure that the food they serve to their family will prevent them from harm. On the other hand, this study would provide opportunity to bond and interact with their child, thus helping them to support and safeguard their children. Teachers, the findings of this study will gain more knowledge to secure the safety of every student. Lastly, they will be more observant and pertinent of the food that the students purchase by assessing the food provided in the school canteen. Students, the findings of this study would disclose the senior high school students under technical vocational livelihood challenges and overcoming techniques during securing food preparation related tasks. Future researchers. The results of this research would direct future researchers to investigate other techniques and prevention related to food preparation. Also, the future researchers would consider another appropriate research method to systematically develop food preparation. The focus of this study was to investigate the students' potential to cause adverse health to consumers. Food preparation practices identified the importance of both personal motivation and the influence of others. Food preparation behavior was often a balance between varied competing influences and demands in life. The participants of this study were the senior high school of Davao City National High School under late afternoon program or LAPT. In fact, they were chosen since the participants' food preparation was rated needs improvements. Food preparation. This refers to indicated epidemiological surveillance summaries of foodborne diseases, clearly stated that consumer behaviors such as ingestion of raw and undercooked foods and poor hygienic practices are important contributors to outbreaks of foodborne diseases. Patel et al. 2004. Senior high school students. In this study, 50 senior high school under late afternoon program who are enrolled at Davao City National High School in the school year 2019-2020 were asked to participate in the study where their food preparation during food production activities were investigated.